All righty. Welcome back and hello, beautiful people. And I'm excited because we are doing something new and fresh and different. Um, we're going to have I don't know, Dee Dee, like a sister friend to the
Absolutely.
collection. I want to welcome Dee Dee to the episode, but she is not going to be a stranger. You beautiful people will be seeing her around a lot more often. Me and Dee Dee have been in communication for a while. And so, we always talk about like narcissist and gaslighting. And so, we just got the great idea that we are going to bring you guys like engaging and very informed content when it comes to this particular topic of gaslighting of narcissists. And so that's kind of what, whenever you see Dee Dee pop up on the screen with me, just know you need to tune in because you're going to get something good talking about how to handle your narcissist. So, Dee Dee, I'm excited to, just have you as a regular.
Thank you, Brianna. It's so much fun. We always have so much fun together. I think we play really well off each other, and the beautiful listeners will enjoy it. I am sure of that. No questions asked.
Yes. And so you guys, like, we are, I would say, like, the epitome of ebony and ivory when Dee Dee was talking about that because, I'm all like subtle and compassion and let's do this. And Dee Dee's like in your face, like, no, this is so
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good
we kind of
balance.
like salt and pepper. Absolutely, right?
Yeah, this
Yep.
is gonna be a good balance, you guys. So I am super excited. How was your week, Dee Dee?
It was good. Yeah, my week is good. There's always things going on. Lots of work going on with my business, which is discover response, because I believe when you discover what you're responding to in life, especially in
Mhm.
communication, that you can handle it. And then found out that I have the opportunity to license my tool, compassion process and learning, that I called CPL. And
Mhm.
CPL is how I got through my divorce, my experience with betrayal trauma, and as I've been using it in my business, which is communication consulting for executives, I've found that it is imperative in all communications, but that it really will mess up a narcissist. So, like when somebody starts gaslighting you, and gaslighting occurs all the time, right? So,
Yeah.
whether somebody's lying to you or gaslighting you or having narcissistic behavior, I have definitely learned that this tool will throw them off. And
Yeah.
it's not that different. It's my spin on a lot of advice that's out there, but
Mhm.
encapsulated into three separate movements that you can do and just get things to stop and slow down to where you can think and not get trapped. So I'm
Yeah.
really having a good time. I'm super excited that people are loving it enough that people want to be able to license it and use it on their own. So pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
Cause that's a thing, like, you see it out there in the community too of just people talking about being gaslit. And it's like, how do you because that's the thing, how do you even get around a gaslighter? Like, I was thinking about that in my toxic marriage of like just the way that he manipulated things that I would say and his responses. And that was really hard. But I wanted to ask you because you always talk about this because I do it and I know I do it. I interchange narcissist and gaslighting. And I really liked what you had said earlier about just like, the behavior occurs first. So, even like just breaking that down for us who think sometimes narcissist and gaslighting is the same thing.
Yeah. So for me, and psychologically, narcissism is a definable on the DSM, for a psychologist to define that. So you can have
Mhm.
narcissistic type behavior, but to be a narcissist is a qualification. And it becomes, it's kind of on the tail end of the curve. Like very few human beings are going to be in that. But
Yeah.
gaslighting and lying occurs all the time. And also, I think what happens is gaslighting and lying is the end result of something that somebody's already trying to hide,
Mm.
right? Like a partner cheats, or a partner spends money when they're not supposed to, or a partner goes somewhere they said they weren't going. I mean, it can be the biggest lie or it can be a small lie. And
Yeah.
we all have that feeling Like I asked that question, and the answer I got back from my partner or my friend or my boss or whoever it is wasn't, it didn't feel right.
Mm.
Right? Like there's something
Mhm.
wrong there. It's not feeling good. So what do you say when that happens? What do you say back?
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is they're covering up something they don't want you to know.
Mhm.
Right? Just like
Mhm.
kids, right? I mean, humans start lying from an early age for
Mhm.
whatever fear they have. Like little kids are just lie because they think they're gonna get in trouble, right? No, I took one cookie when they took three, right? So
Yeah.
the smallest thing, right? But when we get to be adults, we need to be authentic and appreciate that another human being has the right to make decisions of their life based on fact,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. And that's the thing, like, okay, we need to be able to make decisions based on facts, which is completely true. But when you go to someone who is gaslighting you and you state the facts and then they respond in a way that makes you feel like, okay, well maybe I'm tripping. I didn't see that. And I think that's the thing, like how do we, like how do we get around that?
Girl, we have got to start trusting ourselves. Like,
That's good.
like
Like,
people don't break marriages up or leave relationships or quit jobs on feelings. But guess what? I think we need to,
really?
right? Hey, like, look, I would have got divorced a long time before I did. Now, I may not have found out everything I did if I had left early, and I'm glad I stayed to find out the whole truth. But there were
I
things
like
along.
that. I really like that because people get stuck in that. People get stuck in, man, I stayed too long. Man, you know what I'm saying? But I like how you're like changing that narrative to say, no, I needed to stay longer because it gave me everything I needed to actually stay for good, stay
Girl,
away
it
for
was in
good.
my prayer every night for a lot of years. Like, please guide me to know what I need to know to be able to leave and be whole and complete. Like, I would just
Ooh,
have that prayer and, guide me, open my eyes, get me to where I know it's complete and I can go. You
see, I'm
know,
gonna get off topic for a little bit. I'm sorry, but this is good because I'm gonna get off topic. So I think that's important. Part of my story is I prayed that same prayer of like, God, just send me a sign. I don't want to get a divorce, but I just need to know. And then the next day, the other woman approached me at the gym. And so it's like you have to be careful what you pray for, but also when God answers your prayers, like you should take that and use it to empower you. And I think so many times women use these things to just kind of stay in the victim space and not allow themselves to heal and move through. So I'm glad you shared that because that's good.
yeah, because the first answer to my prayer was my 12-year-old cranking up Lizzo's first hit, if he doesn't love you, leave him. And I said,
Uh-huh.
we're on our way to school, and I said, why are you playing that song? You like your little boyfriend. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, mom, this is for you.
No,
Dad
are you
hates
serious?
no, dad hates you and you need to divorce him. I'm like, okay, God, I got you. Like loud and clear out of the mouths of babes, right? Something going on. Something loud going on.
But your own 12-year-old child.
Yeah, yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that crazy? People ask me all the time, like, okay, I need to stay in my marriage for the sake of my children. And I always tell them, baby, your children already know that this marriage is toxic and that your husband ain't doing right by you.
Right, because they don't come with the tools that we come with called, make it work for the kids, make it work for ourselves. Like they don't come with all that. They're pure and innocent and they go, this doesn't feel good, so you shouldn't do it. Right? We teach them that. We teach them
Mhm.
this doesn't feel good, don't do it. Then we become
Yeah.
adults and it doesn't feel good and we keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
child psychologist. I went to a child psychologist and asked somebody who specializes in breakup of marriages based on
Mhm.
infidelity. And they said, look, it is my experience that once a child starts saying the kind of things your child said, they have heard, intuited, or seen something, even if they cannot remember, they might be young and they might not even remember what they heard, seen, or intuited, but they know the feeling, and that's what they're giving back to you.
Wow.
That
So,
children can't make this stuff up. They don't have the experience, right?
that's the thing. They don't have the experience, and so
No.
I think, like, cause for me, I don't have kids, or I didn't have kids by my, ex.
Right.
And, like, what would you say to women? Cause that's not my personal experience, but what would you say to women who say that, like, "Oh, I'm just gonna stay even though I'm unhappy, for the kids?"
No, I would say, don't have that be an excuse
Mhm.
because the kids know. And that's based on that is based on my experience, but it's also based on expert advice that I got. And
Yeah.
that expert was so right. My child knew before me. My child was being gaslit. My child was being lied to. I mean, I learned more about what was going on, before the infidelity that led up to the infidelity, right? I always say infidelity is the last act, right?
Oh,
And
really? Okay.
well, yeah, because I mean, no, sorry, I said it wrong. The gaslighting and lying is the last act. The behavior that they're covering up is the first act, right? So
Mm.
something
Okay.
happens, they do something, they
Mhm.
cheat, they gamble, they drink, they like whatever. They go out with the boys they're not supposed to, whatever it is, right? Like we all do
Yeah.
whatever. Spend too
Yeah.
much money shopping, like whatever. It happens to men too, right? So let's
Mhm.
not just make it male or female, but somebody does something they want to cover up. That's act one. The
Mm.
lying and the stories along the way are the rest of it,
Wow.
right? If you think about that, by the time you're hearing these things that don't feel or sound right, there's something already happened.
Hmm. Okay.
Right? Think
So
about
that's
that as a woman. Like you're
but see,
already
okay.
having it.
Here's like okay, so here's my thought too. Um, because you're saying, okay, we need to trust our intuition, we need to trust our instinct. But what happens too though, when because gaslighters are good at this. Gaslighters are good at causing you to doubt your instinct, right? And then like they can paint the picture that you're crazy, you didn't see what you saw. And so now you start to bury your instinct and you don't follow your intuition anymore.
Yeah, yeah, because then it doesn't happen again tomorrow or the next day,
Right.
but maybe it happens another 6 months from now. That same
Mhm.
feeling, right?
Mhm.
I believe that we need to teach each other and especially our children, right? Coming up, that let's not do that again. Like this is a generational learning experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, just stay in your marriage. That's just
Mhm.
something that somebody said. Like when I was getting divorced, I could not find anybody but like one author who was, excuse my French, but she was like staying in a marriage after somebody's cheated, like eating a shit sandwich every day. She's like, why not do that? She's funny, right? I'm like, there's my girl, right? There's somebody speaking the truth because there is
Yeah.
nothing good about this. What can occur from here forward that's good?
Hmm. Mhm.
Right. And
Mhm.
so for me, women, men, whoever this has happened to start speaking out, it's like, let's break up the industry and the conversation. Let's be that
Yeah.
shake up in I'm going to cheat and I'm going to lie. And then my spouse is just going to stay with me.
Because that's the
Right.
thing.
That's the thing over and over and over. It's like we're supposed to be the smartest mammals on the planet. I don't think so. You know?
So I wanna ask you something. Do you think that people can repair their marriage after infidelity occurs?
I do. I do
Okay.
think they can repair. I do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Things that I've learned, is there remorse? Is there contrition? Is there truly a desire to talk about why they did it, how they were feeling, what lack inside themselves? That's where the
Mhm.
gaslighting effect comes. Anytime somebody's saying it was an accident or it's your fault. Look, ain't nobody tripped and had their private parts fall into each other.
That's
Ain't
what I'm
never
saying. This
happened.
is not an accident. My uncle, he's a pastor, and he always says that same thing. He's like, "So you mean to tell me that you slipped into your car, you slipped to a bar, you slipped her your phone number, you slipped her conversations, you slipped
Right.
over to the hotel?" He was like,
Yeah,
"That's
yeah.
a whole bunch of slipping."
No, ain't nobody. It is premeditated.
Mm.
Cheating
Mhm.
is premeditated.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I like
uh,
that.
it is. You're on an app. You're on a phone. You're in a bar. You're at a singles event. You take off your wedding ring. That all of it is premeditated. And
Mhm.
I believe, there's some lacking in
Mhm.
most human beings to have them be feeling like they need to do that.
Mm. Mhm. I like what you like. I Your definition though is like so solid when it comes to gaslighting about the behavior occurs first. And I think that for me in my mind, it's like, okay, now this helps me like see the distinction between gaslighter and a narcissist because what you're saying is that the behaviors come first or the action or whatever that they've done, and now the lies come to cover up that particular behavior.
Exactly.
Like that's good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Because if you're not doing anything wrong, what you got to be lying about? Right? Like,
That's true. That's true. So then let's get into it. Like we got a solid definition of what gaslighting is now. It's
yeah,
clearly they ain't doing something right.
exactly.
And what's the plan now? Like how do we navigate dealing with this gaslighter?
So this is what I did. I took the tool that I created for business. So
Mhm.
compassion, process, and learning.
Say it
Compa-
again.
Compassion,
Mhm.
process, and learning.
Okay.
So look at the infidelity situation. So compassion for myself and my partner, because maybe they've been there before, I don't know, but I definitely have not been there, right? Like compassion that like, I don't know about this and
Mhm.
there's something wrong
Mhm.
and I need to feel better.
Mhm.
And love yourself, be compassionate with yourself because this is not a good thing that you're going through, right? And
Yeah.
just, put your big girl pants on, man up, whatever it is, and deal with the situation. Understand that it's a process and that you're learning,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So be
Mhm.
compassionate, understand it's a process, and understand that you're learning.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good. That's good. And so what would you like tell people like how to apply that to their situations?
Well, what I've found in talking to people is when you start the conversation with you, right? It creates defensiveness. You did
Yeah.
this, you did that. So, first of
Mhm.
all, don't do that.
Mhm.
Start with I'm not feeling right. I'm not feeling like you're telling me the truth.
Mhm.
I don't see consistency in your story,
Mm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's all, and,
Mhm.
and then I also think the I statements give yourself power because you're
Mm.
inside
Okay.
yourself saying I. You're not saying you, which means you're over there in their world
Yeah.
going you. You're like inside of yourself taking a stand for yourself every time you say I.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel bad. I feel this is not right. I feel like you're not being quite honest,
I
right?
like that because okay, first of all, I stole that from you when you were like, okay, listen to the person is saying I all the time or you. So now when I'm with my clients, girl, I be like, what are they I owe you and you or whatever.
That's right.
But go ahead.
No, it's just that it's the only place we can be responsible for ourselves is in I. Because this once you gain that power of continually speaking I, you quickly realize it is the only place you have any power. That person
Yeah.
over there could just keep lying to you, and you could be like, you're doing this, you're doing that. And guess what they're going to say back? No, I'm not. Okay, great. So stop
No,
being
I'm
over
not.
there. Yeah, exactly. Don't be over there. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling incomplete. I'm feeling
And
like you're not telling me the
that's
truth.
what causes the defensiveness.
You got it.
Like,
In
that
all
makes sense to me now.
situations.
I get that. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just was
Wow.
glad that I had created
Girl.
this, right? Because then it just thing, I did not force you with a gun to get in your car, to go anywhere, to do anything. You did all that on your own,
Right. All of that on your own.
right?
Wow. That's, hold on, Didi, Imma pause because I don't have my laptop, uh okay, yes. Okay, I'm getting so excited right now because I don't know, like, for me, it's like, this is good, and I hope that people are picking this up and really understanding because what I was saying was, first, I with my clients, I was always telling them like, well, when you bring the offense to your partner, like, how are they responding? Are they saying I, or you? But I like what you're saying too, even on the flip side, as the victim, you shouldn't also be going into it aggressively, right? Because again, when you say, well, you're lying or you blah, 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 but when you say, hey, I feel like you're not telling the truth, hey, I feel like parts of your story are not lining up, like it really kind of helps with that. You know what I'm saying? Like it like you said, it's putting the power back onto you. It's giving you some type of, to me in my mind, like accountability, but it's kind of helping where it's like this, it's not as aggressive.
Well, it also doesn't give them to be anything to be defensive about, right? Like
Mm,
they can't put it back on you if you're using an I statement. And
yeah.
guess what? They're like, all right, she ain't playing no more. She ain't over there blaming me. She's like taking a stand for herself. So I'm like, I ain't doing this anymore. I don't feel right. I cannot do this, like I'm not gonna be in these conversations,
Yeah. Do
you
you
know.
think that like us using the I language makes them really think that like, oh, okay, now she's coming at me or he's coming at me with how they're feeling. You think that or
You read articles, the biggest thing they say is don't argue with a gaslighter or someone who's lying to you. So if
mhm.
you can't argue the point, all you can do is take a stand for yourself, right? With an I statement. I understand that that was your experience. That was not my experience, right?
Yeah. And then just be done, because like you said, you can't argue with a gaslighter.
No, no, because they have an agenda of
Uh-huh.
making sure, again, that you don't find out what the first step actually was, because all this lying is all the 10th step, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
get in the car, go to the bar, slide her a number, start an affair,
When
right?
you're supposed to be working late.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So where did the first thing start? That they lied about not being at work. And so
Mhm.
everything that occurs after that fact is just, you know, what do they say? Seed of the poison fruit.
So my thought is, and I wanna know what your thought is. I feel like with people who are gaslighters, essentially, it's like rooted in an insecurity that they have on in their own, that they're battling with personally. And
100%.
so, yeah. So you would
Yeah,
agree with that?
I agree with it. I agree my own personal experience. I agree from courses I've taken or books I've read, experts I've listened to, that
Mhm.
the inability to be honest is insecurity.
Mm.
Because I
Say
promise
that
you, if I
again. You
was
said the
miserable,
inability to be
to be
honest
honest.
is
Yeah,
insecurity.
right. Why would you not be honest?
That's true. Why would you not be honest? So, people would ask this then, okay, why would you not be honest? But why would you just, when we're talking about infidelity or any type of betrayal, if you're unhappy, why not just leave?
Exactly. Why not just come and say, "Hey, I'm not happy anymore. I'm
Mhm.
starting to have thoughts about, sleeping or dating or being with other people."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because
a whole
I'm
nother.
not happy has to be the beginning. Because you gotta get not
Okay.
happy first to be thinking about other people, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know, like, I mean, I know that you can be walking down the street and obviously be attracted to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
But your unhappiness meter's got to be really in the red to take it somewhere different than just, "Oh, yeah, that was an attractive human," and keep walking, right?
Mhm. 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 That's good. And so that, cuz that circles back in to like what you do in terms of communication. And so it's like that's the thing in relationships when the communication is broken. And I don't know, like is that kind of where it starts because what I hear you say is like if you're unhappy, you need to start there and express that opposed to going and actually doing an action that could hurt another person.
Exactly. Or destroy everything you've built. These 20, 30-year marriages that, yeah, marriage is hard. Being with one person is hard. But you have to
Mhm.
start with I committed, right? I committed to be with you. I committed to make a family with you. And if something's wrong, then talk about
Mhm.
it. So I believe
Mhm.
that all things start with communication.
Yep.
Even like if you and I just sat here and said nothing out loud, there's even communication going on in our own heads
Okay.
about each other, about ourselves, about the podcast, about the topic. So there is always communication going on. So
Mhm.
recognizing that communication,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I think that this is what religious counseling before marriage is about, right? Hey, by the way, this thing you're about to take on is hard. Don't fool yourself. Like this is hard,
Yeah.
right? Being married is
Yeah.
hard. It's not
Mhm.
it's not a cakewalk, it is not a fantasy, it is not Cinderella.
Mhm. Mhm. I so I already know the answer to this question, and I already know what you're gonna say, but I feel like somebody is still asking themselves this question, and so we just got to get it out there.
Okay, let's
Like,
hear it.
can you rebuild or uh because like we talked about, okay, yeah, you can repair a relationship after infidelity, but can you repair a relationship with a gaslighter?
No, because that person's insecure. So that person doesn't have a relationship with themselves. Woo! Can't have a relationship with an unwhole human being.
Mm, you weren't supposed to say that. That's too
What?
much truth.
Too much?
You can't, you gotta give them baby steps.
Okay. So that's 100% me. Here's 50% me. A little lighter. If that person is willing to work on themselves and become whole and complete and learn how to be secure.
Nah, we're gonna stick with the 100%. The 100% was better and it was good. But that is so okay. So I was on a call with a client yesterday, right? And this was our second session. And you know how we all have those clients where some are particularly harder to break than others. And it's like we already know the root of their issue, but our job as a coach is to get them to see the root of their issue. And so, I'm preparing and I'm like, okay, how am I going to get her to see XYZ, right? And so finally, through the session yesterday, we did like I got her to pull it out, right? And here's what it was. Her issues are that she's insecure. And she, was basically saying internally, she tells herself that she's not good enough
Right.
and nobody else will want her. So she's going to stay in this relationship, and fight for this one, even though she knows that it's toxic, but because her insecurities behind, you know what I'm saying? And
Right. But
I
what
like
happens?
what
What do
you,
you think that maybe what actually happens is we're insecure.
mm-hmm,
Then all those terrible things we say to ourselves as insecure,
uh-huh,
we actually attract it.
woo,
And now there's a human out there actually speaking the same words that are in our own head, and it lines up. And then we're in a double whammy. Like now we're in this board game that we cannot get out of.
yep,
But once
yep.
I always say, but now that your client knows that, the game is different.
It's a game changer, ain't it?
No, I always say you cannot. People will say, well, if I just change one thing, like I do a lot of mediation in communication,
Mm-hmm.
and people are like, we need to fix this. No, you're going to be different in the interaction, and the whole thing changes. Well, how's that possible? And I say, well,
Yeah.
do you bake? Yeah, everybody's baked a cake, right? One cake in their
Uh-huh.
life, chocolate, vanilla, whatever, out of a Betty Crocker box. Okay, fine. Let's just say you forget to put the oil in. That's a different cake. Let's
Yeah.
just say you forgot to put the egg in. That's a different cake.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you understand what you're contributing to a situation, that situation is no longer the same. It cannot be. Like that's deep, right? It cannot be the same.
Whew. Girl, you over here got me shaking. I'm like, we can go on and on, but I love that. I don't know, cause anyways, once you know where you're contributing, it won't be the same.
Yeah,
And
seriously, stop contributing that. Don't give that away anymore. Don't do that.
don't give that away. Okay,
Don't
so
do
real
that
quick,
anymore.
how do they do that though? Because they are allowing these people to speak to their insecurities. And so then again, she confessed. Like she was like, well, he has told me that nobody else will want me. Well, he has told me that, I wasn't good enough, XYZ. So now when you talk about don't allow that, what does that look like?
No, it comes back to the I statement, right?
Mm,
I am worthy. I am I am desirable. I am, and guess what? Now they don't line up anymore.
yeah.
You can't stay in a situation that's that different. It's like
Yeah.
you wouldn't stay long term in a relationship where one of you spoke French and one of you spoke Spanish and you could never communicate.
Mhm.
The minute you flip that dialogue and those words are no longer going inside of you on in your own head, life changes,
Mhm.
right? And you
Yeah.
say, and you even can take the power to it and be like, I chose this person because I was insecure. I did this,
Yep.
right? I
And
mean, if
that's
you,
where that empowerment comes in,
yeah,
because now you know the problem, and now you know that you have the power to fix and correct that problem.
yeah. Yeah, and you can break it down all the way if you want. I mean, you can do the whole psychology on it. You can, I love Freud and Jung and the whole thing. And you can
Mhm.
spend years figuring that out. I got that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, you're in a critical situation. So if you
Yeah.
just change the communication tool you're using, get out of the critical situation, then in your healing process, go figure out why you did that. Like, what about
Mhm.
your past contributed to your present and is giving you who you are? But
Mhm.
do that outside of the critical situation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to eat that cake you didn't put the oil in. You can be done
Yeah.
with it. You can just be like,
Yeah.
I'm done. That no.
Woo, child. This is good. No, I'm for real. Like, this is see, this I love us. I love us together. Ebony and Ivory, everybody. Um, because I'm thinking about, like, now I know why he got so upset, my ex-husband, the first time I used an I statement. And my I statement was, I'm not, because he came to my house giving me those same lies and, trying to put everything on me and even telling me like I was a victim of that, like being told that I'm not good enough and nobody else will want me. And I remember looking at him in the face and I said, well, I'm not the same Brianna anymore. And he absolutely lost it. And now I know why. And so that is important for men and women. I know I say women a lot because that's who I coach, but if you are in a toxic relationship and you are dealing with a gaslighter, start learning how to use the language of I, because it's going to empower you to make steps to do what you need to do to get out of those toxic situations. And I don't know, off the top of your head, like, what should we title this episode? This is so good. I don't know.
I don't know. The I world, right? Or something,
Right. It's
Yeah.
gonna look, it's gonna be something with I,
The
because
I
this is so
tool,
good.
the I tool, the right, like the gaslighter, the liar, the person trying to manipulate you to do whatever they're doing that they don't want you to know about cannot
Mhm.
function inside of, yeah, I don't believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
believe you. And if this continues, I won't be staying.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Mhm. Mhm.
I love you, but I love me more. Right.
Yep.
Uh-uh.
Yep.
I'm so happy for your client that she saw that because she will no longer attract that to herself.
Absolutely.
And you cannot
Absolutely.
know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Did she actually have that going on before she met that human being? Or did she have a little crack where that might fit and he broke it wide open? And now
Mm.
all there is that insecurity.
Yep.
But
Yep.
saying, I chose you and I can unchoose you,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yep. And, not even getting into a lot of it because I feel like we have so many other topics that we need to touch on as far as attachment styles and, how we're attracting these people. But hers was like, once we got into it, it was rooted into childhood. She's always thought that way. And, and that was what I was telling her too, of like, when you get attached to someone, an unhealthy attachment, that's why it's so much harder to break away from these toxic relationships, because there was a part of you that was already insecure. And when you get with a gaslighter, right, at the very beginning, they're very cunning and they tell you all the things that you want to say. And so that thing is attractive to you, right? And so you get stuck in that of like, man, I want that back. So you're doing everything in your power that you think is right, right? And you're trying to stay and you're trying to work it out because you're wanting to get back to him validating that insecurity that you once had, or that has always been there. And
Exactly.
so I think, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone wants to be validated, even if it's in the negative,
Mm,
right? And I truly believe that life is not what happens to us, is what we say about it. So the
yeah.
minute you see something you don't like and you can't control of it, right? And
Mhm.
then you figure out the why when it's not critical.
Mhm.
Like, because unless
Mhm.
that other person's also on that same page of like, I don't want to behave like this. Like, if both people are like, I don't feel good, this doesn't feel right, and this person's like, and I don't like behaving like this, that
Mhm.
you can repair. Those
Yeah.
two people can repair. They're speaking the same language,
Mhm.
right? But are
Mhm.
they both willing to look and see, like, what about my past led me to my present moment? And how do I want to change it?
Yeah. 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 That is good, man. I feel like we've gave the people some. Y'all finna go out there and leave these gaslighters, like, for real, for real. That's what I wanna know. Y'all better, because I
Make a
mean,
better
we
cake, baby. Just go make a better cake. And you can make a better cake with the same person, but you got to change the ingredients.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've seen people heal relationships, intimate relationship, work relationship, friendships, by just changing the ingredient, by one person being
Mhm.
courageous enough to use that I statement and just
Mm.
admit, I don't like this. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
good. I don't want to do it anymore.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, we could just
Mhm.
continue segments, every few weeks on this. Like, what I statement work? Where can you use it? What's the next tool?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Right?
guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, like, put comments. Like, if you want to hear us talk more and really dive deep into this I statement, I want you to comment, or I want you to go and follow me and Didi and DM us and just let us know, like, okay, yeah, this I statement is clutch for the relationship that I'm trying to get out of or navigate through. And so, what you think, Didi? Are we
I
good?
think if
Is
they
there
and if
anything
and
else?
if the listeners have specific examples, like, give them to us, and we can turn
That's
a
right.
whole cast into that topic. Like, we
Yeah,
could build it out. If somebody has a great example of something that's happened, we can build around that one example.
that's right.
Because I promise you, there's other people in the world experiencing the same thing.
Yes.
I
So
mean,
you
we're
guys, if you have an example of how you're trying to navigate what we say, like a gaslighter, somebody that's gaslighting, do us a favor, message us, DM me on life underscore after underscore infidelity on Instagram, and then Didi.
Yeah, BTC, the Betrayal Trauma Coach, or my email, discover, or my website, discoverresponse.com.
How do you feel about closing out? Like, is there anything else we need to share with the people, or you feel like they got enough to go and
I
practice
think
right
I
now?
is such a powerful tool. Go get it. Go change that cake. Do something different. Let us know how that one tastes, right? And let's
Yeah.
go. Let's do something different. And hopefully your partner is as disgusted with a cake that y'all made wrong together that they want to
Mhm,
change it and eat something better too. Like,
mhm.
that's how you work marriage out. Are you both committed, bottom line, to the rules of marriage that you agree on?
Mhm.
Can you work inside of that? That's how you stay together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys, I hope that you have found this segment very helpful. Like I said, me and Dee Dee are going to be coming back. We have devoted that we're going to be coming back to you once a month. So make sure that you check us out once a month. Every month on a Monday, we're going to be dropping some fire episodes more like this. Just trying to help you, learn how to navigate gaslighting, narcissist, what else? Like I've already said, okay, we got to talk about these attachment styles. What else,
Yeah,
Didi?
exactly. Well, the commitment to learn how did we, well, I love the whole baking thing, right? So, like, how did we become the human that we are? What parts of it
Mhm.
do we want to keep? And what parts do we not want to keep?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we can be conscious, functioning human beings and drop some of our stuff and pick up other things. We don't have to
Mhm.
just be the same people ongoingly through life. Keep doing
Yeah.
the same thing over and over. What did Einstein say? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, the definition of insanity. So you
Sanity.
got to stop and think, right? And then, don't forget, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Change it the
Yep.
first time. Don't wait till the 10th time. Make you
Mhm.
and them miserable and your
Yep.
kids. Change it now.
Yep. Yep. Well, you guys, that's what we're here for. You heard it from Didi. We're here to help you get out of that cycle of insanity for real, for real.
For
And
real.
so again, you can catch Didi at www.discoverresponse.com. And you can also hit her up on Instagram at Betrayal Trauma Coach. And then you can also find us, listen to this episode on YouTube at Life After Infidelity. And so you can also find us on Spotify, Apple Tunes, Google Podcast. That's a whole thing. And so yeah, we'll be here once a month giving you more hot topics. And we'll see you in the next video. Hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, girl. Everybody be well.
Bye.